Chapter 81. Well-behaved soldier. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Translator. Nyo-iwo Studio Editor. Nyo-iwo Studio. The scripture of Jade Skin opened with these words, Jade Skin and flawless body, evils away and spells vain. When he sipped the water, Han Sen knew something was wrong, but he still drank it without hesitation. Hearing a humming, Han Sen felt like his mind and eyes were sucked into Qin Xian's eyes and that he almost lost his consciousness. Almost at the same time, a coolness welled from his limbs. Jade Skin started to run in his body automatically and the coolness restored his senses. This woman wants to hypnotize me. What's she trying to do? Han Sen sneered inwardly, but didn't show anything on his face. He maintained that confused look. Han Sen, are my eyes not pretty? Qin Xian asked. They are pretty, Han Sen answered in a low voice. Which part of my body do you like best? Qin Xian asked again. Your boobs, Han Sen did not hesitate to answer. Why? Qin Xian asked again. They are big, soft and bouncy, Han Sen replied. Nasty. Qin Xian whispered. When they were in the combat room, Han Sen must have touched her boobs when they fought. Come and touch them, Qin Xian said, lifting her chest. Han Sen did not hesitate to reach out his hands and Qin Xian suddenly pushed his hands aside. Now she could confirm that Han Sen had been completely hypnotized by her, as any normal person would hesitate when hearing such an odd request, which Han Sen did not. Are you dollar? Qin Xian's first question scared the hell out of him. Han Sen didn't realize Qin Xian had connected some dots. Without time to think any further, he answered, no. Qin Xian nodded, apparently not believing the two were the same person herself. She continued to ask, why are you unwilling to go to Blackhawk? Because it was too far away from home, Han Sen replied. How is that relevant? Qin Xian did not understand his logic. I wouldn't be able to take care of my mom and my sister if it is too far away from home, Han Sen replied slowly. Qin Xian was a bit surprised and then her look softened. She asked, have you ever considered to join my squad? No. Why? Qin Xian was slightly angry. I'm afraid of danger. I cannot die, replied Han Sr. Why can't you die? Qin Xian looked at Han Sen, finding his reply curious. If I die, my mom and my sister will be bullied by my relatives, and I cannot let them be bullied, Han Sen continued to answer. Qin Xian's expression became more and more gentle, and she continued to ask, why did you agree to join Bullseye? Because of you. Me. Qin Xian was confused. Because I like you. Han Sen still had a dull face on. Qin Xian blushed a little, why do you like me? Because you are beautiful. Is there any other reason? Yes. What reason? Surprisingly, Qin Xian was slightly excited to hear the answer. Because you are beautiful. Isn't this the same reason? Qin Xian frowned. No. Why not? Qin Xian looked at Han Sen, puzzled. Because the first time I saw you, I thought you are beautiful, the second time I saw you, you are more beautiful. I can't move away my eyes and want to look at you forever. Qin Xian's cheeks turned crimson. She raised her arm and wanted to slap Han Sen out of it, but eventually didn't have the heart to do that and just gave him a pinch swiftly. Han Sen fell to the ground suddenly with an ouch, acting as if he had fallen under the bed in sleep. Qin Xian subconsciously reached out her hand, but took it back and let Han Sen fall to the ground as she blushed at certain thoughts. What did you do to me? Han Sen suddenly climbed up from the ground and pretended to be frightened. You do not have to worry, I just wanted to know why you do not want to go to Blackhawk. Qin Xian said softly. You hypnotized me. Han Sen was raged. One must go through this process to join the squad. The people we serve are special, so we must guarantee that every member had a clean slate. I myself had to go through the same thing. Qin Xian looked at Han Sen and said gently, you can rest assured that your family will be protected by the military once you go to Black Hawk and join my squad. No one could hurt them. Han Sen looked uncertain and remained silent. Also, I can tell you that each shelter has the same kind of squad, providing service for special clients. This job wouldn't put you in great danger. And that's everything I can tell you. You can think about it yourself. Not hearing an answer, Qin Xian had to ask, what do you think? Do you want to join my squad? Do I still have an option? Han Sen said with a wry smile. Try to be admitted to the Black Hawk. After joining my squad, you will be glad about your decision today. Qin Xian patted Han Sen's shoulder, pleased. Oh, if you need anything just let me know. I'll try to assist you so that you could prepare for the entrance exam of Black Hawk, Qin Xian said. I just want to know one thing. When I was hypnotized, did you ask me any other question other than why I wasn't interested in Black Hawk? Han Sen asked. No, I am a well-behaved soldier. And I am not interested in your private matters, Qin Xian said categorically, with her heart pounding as if there were a cat scratching at it. Really? Han Sen seemed to be worried still. Of course not. Let me know if you need anything. As long as it doesn't cost too much, I will help you prepare for the exam, which is in less than 2 months, Qin Xian said and left, her face burning. After Qin Xian left, Han Sen let out a long sigh of relief. From now on, Qin Xian probably wouldn't suspect him again. This is an excellent opportunity. Qin Xian would completely trust me after this so she can become my cover. Others would think I got stronger and better because of her help and wouldn't suspect that I am Dollar. Then, I could gradually show my real ability using my own identity and abandon the guise of Dollar altogether, Han Sen thought to himself. This was why he had agreed to Qin Xian's ask. Also, his family could indeed use the protection of the military. Han Sen then teleported into God's sanctuary as it was Dollar's time to participate in the second round of the martial arts contest. Chapter 82. Fighting Luo Tianyang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Nyo.bo Studio Editor. Nyo.bo Studio Han Senator not evolved. Status. None life span 200 years. Requirements for evolution. 100 Geno points. Geno points gained. 100 ordinary Geno points, 100 primitive Geno points, 47 mutant Geno points, 29 sacred Geno points. Beast souls gained. Sacred. Blood Black Beetle, Sacred. Blood Bloody Slayer, Sacred. Blood Purple. Winged Dragon, Mutant 3-eyed Cat, Mutant Black Barracuda, Mutant Black Stinger, Mutant Sawfish. Han Sen looked at his current data and felt satisfied. Now he had as many as 3 sacred. Blood beast souls and several mutant beast souls. Only 2 of the mutant beast souls were less than satisfactory and they were both from someone else. The mutant 3-eyed cat was a pet that was useless at the moment and the mutant black barracuda Lu Weinan gave him was an aquatic mount, which was completely useless on the land. At a grove near Steel Armor Shelter, Han Sen was meeting with Lin Beifeng. Han Sen was deliberately giving Lin the mutant creature meat he promised a few days later than when Dollar sold mutant black stingers. This is for you. Han Sen took 2 dried sawfish out of his bag and gave them to Lin. Black stingers were no longer an option, so he had to give the fish to Lin. 2. Lin was overjoyed. Yes, it was a good trip. Han Sen gave him back the rest of the arrows, which were not really put into use. It's fine. Keep them. Sen, can I join you next time? Lin Beifeng looked at Han Sen expectantly. I will if there is an opportunity. Please take the arrows back. Han Sen insisted. Lin had to take the arrows back, and the 2 returned to the shelter as they were talking. At the gate of Steel Armor Shelter, they ran into Son of Heaven's gang. Luo Tianyang stared at Han Sen as if he were to devour the guy. Son of Heaven, long time no see, Lin said. Lin, why are you with him? Son of Heaven gave Han Sen an unkind glance. Sen is my friend and there seems to be nothing that can't be forgiven between you two. How about we let Han Sen buy us drinks and you can just let it go? Lin asked Son of Heaven. Let it go. Who do you think you are? Luo Tianyang looked at Lin contemptuously. Shut up. Son of Heaven stopped Luo Tianyang, and said to Lin, Lin, it's not that I don't respect you, but it is not that simple. If it is not settled properly, it will never be over. Settle how? I will pay however much you think he owes you, said Lin. It's not about money. You can ask him yourself, Son of Heaven said and entered the shelter with his gang. Sen, what was that about? Lin looked at Han Sen puzzled. He thought their conflict was only the ass freak incident. Han Sen told him about the purple-winged dragon and Lin smiled wryly. It was indeed a big deal for Son of Heaven. Lin paused and laughed. But it does not matter, you did not get the beast soul anyway. I will try to mediate between you two. It's not a good idea to have Son of Heaven as an enemy. Just between us, you could offend a gentleman, but never a villain. The two also entered steel armor shelter. Everyone inside the shelter seemed to be talking about some news. Han Sen listened carefully, and it turned out that Dollar was against Luo Tianyang in the second round. Dollar against Luo Tianyang. It must be an excellent fight. Son of Heaven must still be bitter from Dollar seizing his bloody slayer beast soul. Luo Tianyang would probably try to kill Dollar for him. Kill Dollar. I don't think he can even last longer than 10 minutes. That's not fair. Dollar is strong but so is Luo Tianyang. With the support from Son of Heaven, Luo probably has as many beast souls as he wishes. I think the result is hard to tell. I say it's easy to tell. Dollar will win. Ha, I agree. Does Luo Tianyang have wings? Can he fight a golden horned Shura? Exactly, how can Luo Tianyang even compare? I think it will take 3 minutes for Dollar to get rid of him. Han Sen did not expect to meet Luo Tianyang in the second round. He sneered inwardly, the mills of God grind slowly. This bastard is now in my hand. Lin Beifeng's eyes lit up. Last time I missed Dollar's fight. Let's go watch this one. I will not go. There is some family business I need to take care of. Of course Han Sen couldn't watch. If he went, then Dollar would be missing. You won't come. It's Dollar. Lin was shocked. What's so special about him? He is just a person. Han Sen shrugged. He is special. I never admired anyone, but Dollar is an exception, just because he fought that Shura, Lin said. Okay, but I really need to go home, so maybe next time. Han Sen chuckled inwardly. Unfortunately, video cameras don't work in God's sanctuary, or we can record it and post it on the Skynet. It will go viral for sure. Lin Beifeng bemoaned and left for the martial hall. Han Sen took a detour and reappeared in the shelter after he put on the black beetle armor. This time he was prepared and wore a cape over the armor, covering almost everything. Although he looked strange, he wasn't recognized like last time. Han Sen found a corner seat in the stands and sat down, watching others fight as he waited for his turn. Before long, a group of people sat down close to him. Han Sen was shocked to see they were the Bullseye members, with Yang Monli leading the team. They were a big group and Han Sen had picked a sparsely seated corner, so they all came here. Su Xiaoqiao was seated next to Han Senator Yang Monli and Lu Hongtao were only 2 seats away. I say buddy, why are you covered all over in such hot weather? Are you dressing as a witch? Su Xiaoqiao always liked joking and threw a comment at Han Sr. Brat, I'll deal with you later, thought Han Sen, not saying anything. Monli, Who do you think will win, Dollar or Luo Tianyang? Several members of Bullseye started a heated discussion. Chapter 83. 1-minute fight. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Nyo.bo Studio Editor. Nyo.bo Studio, Dollar of course. Right, Monli? Su Xiaoqiao asked. Yang Monli nodded, apparently agreeing with Su Xiaoqiao. Lu Hongtao commented on the side, even Dollar is strong, he is just one person, without anyone behind his back, while Luo Tianyang was supported by Son of Heaven. It is still hard to tell who will win. One person is enough. Dollar fought a golden horned Shura alone. Even with a gang behind him, I don't think Luo Tianyang could do that, Su Xiaoqiao said with disdain. Young man, you are too young to understand. Lu Hongtao acted as an elder. What don't I understand? Su did not take that comment well. Think about it. If Son of Heaven and his whole gang all let Luo Tianyang use their beast souls, who do you think will win? Don't forget that Son of Heaven has a sacred blood shape-shifting ape beast soul, and God knows how many mutant beast souls he has. If Luo Tianyang use them all, do you still think Dollar will win? Lu Hongtao said confidently. It's just an ape beast soul. Dollar has a bloody slayer beast soul, wings and sacred blood armor. It would be easy for him to win Luo Tianyang. I don't think Luo Tianyang could last a minute. Su Xiaoqiao said disapprovingly. This kid sure knows how to speak. Han Sen was pleased with Su Xiaoqiao's words. Well, you just said Luo Tianyang couldn't last a minute, so let's make a bet. If Luo lasts less than a minute, you can have my mutant beast soul of red hoofed beast. If he lasts longer than that, your mutant nocturnal wolf beast soul will be mine. Do you dare to bet against me? Lu Hongtao looked at Su Xiaoqiao and said. Su Xiaoqiao suddenly got nervous. 1 minute was just a figure of speech. How was it possible for one to end the match in a minute after all? Like Lu Hongtao had said, Son of Heaven had Luo's back. With some beast souls here and there, Luo Tianyang could definitely stay on the stage longer than a minute. The nocturnal wolf beast soul was a lucky gain of Su Zhao's when he shot an arrow at the nocturnal wolf king in a recent campaign. He had been bragging to everyone about it. Yet Lu Hongtao had proposed to use this beast soul as the stake in a bet that was less than fair. Lu, we were just chatting. No need to get serious. Yes, Lu, Xiaoqiao was just saying. Yeah, figure of speech. Several Bullseye members tried to smooth things over, but being unreasonable, Lu Hongtao said with a mean tone, I'm trying to teach him not to comment on things he doesn't understand. He could say whatever he wishes at home, but in the society, a wrong comment could get him killed. #T. You insist. A bet is a bet. I'm game. Don't be a deadbeat when you lose. Although Su Xiaoqiao was usually joking, messing around, he still had his pride as he was from a wealthy family. Even at the cost of a beast soul, he wouldn't be a doormat. Xiaoqiao, just suck it up. The teammates next to him all tried to stop Su Xiaoqiao from getting involved in this unfair bet. He would be basically giving the beast soul away. Lu Hongtao didn't have the best personality and not many liked him except for a few henchmen of his. Almost everyone was on Su's side. Well, I appreciate a young man that can stick to what he believes in. If you don't trust me, we can both transfer our beast souls to Monli and let her be our witness. So that we could both reassured, Lu Hongtao said and gave his beast soul of red hoofed beast to Yang Monli. Lu, it's just a small difference. We all are in Bullseye, and there is no need to do this. Yang Monli frowned. Monli, I'm doing this for his own good. If he keeps being insolent like this, he might get into bigger troubles elsewhere in the future. Lu Hongtao gave Su a contemptuous glance and said to him, if you apologize to me right now, I'll let this go. And remember to watch it in the future. Everyone thought Lu Hongtao was just shameless. If these words came from another person, Su Xiaoqiao might apologize, but Lu saying this himself made an apology an impossible option for any guy with dignity. Everyone knew there was no going back at this point. Su gritted his teeth and raged, "Lu Hongtao, cut the crap. I'm down." Su Xiaoqiao then transferred his mutant nocturnal wolf beast soul to Yang Monli. "Monli, keep this for me. When I win, I'll treat everyone to barbecue. I like a young man who doesn't know any better." Lu Hongtao was overjoyed. A mutant beast soul was very rare and he had just gained one with a few words. Also, the mutant nocturnal wolf was a shape-shifting beast soul which was worth even more than his mount beast soul, red-hoofed beast. Yang Monli frowned. She had wanted to mediate the dispute with a few words, but Lu Hongtao said those words first so that Su Xiaoqiao had to bet against him now. The young man is too impulsive, maybe a loss could be considered a lesson for him. Yang Monli sighed. Things had come so far that there was nothing she could say to turn it around. Su Xiaoqiao felt upset after accepting the bet. Although he was confident in dollar and believed he could win, 1 minute was simply too short. Even the exchange of pleasantries could last that long, not to mention Luo Tianyang did have many resources. If he had really borrowed the ape beast soul from Son of Heaven, the match could easily last longer than 10 minutes. The match between Luo Tianyang soon began and Su Xiaoqiao murmured his prayers, "Dollar, it was me who spread your name. Please help me. I haven't had the nocturnal wolf beast for long and don't want to give it to Lu." Sitting next to Su and hearing everything, Han Sen was mad. "Help you? In the beginning, everyone was calling me doll, and it was all because of you." Chapter 84. Ape Beast Soul. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Nyo.bo Studio Editor. Nyo.bo Studio. Finally, Dollar and Luo Tianyang's codes were displayed on the martial steel. Each digit in Han Sen's code was an 8, so everyone knew that was him. Luo Tianyang went on the stage first. From his leisurely look, it seems that he was confident about the upcoming match, which made Su Xiaoqiao quite nervous. "Where is Dollar? The match is about to begin but we don't see him yet. If he is not here in 3 minutes, he will automatically be considered the losing side." BL.net. The stands were filled with people eager to see Dollar's match, but the familiar golden figure was missing. Su Xiaoqiao became even more tense. Lu Hongtao smiled unkindly. "Su Xiaoqiao, it seems that you are in a bad place. If Dollar doesn't show up at all, you wouldn't be convinced even if I won the bet, right? What is this nonsense? It is still very early, and the boss always comes late. Don't you understand that?" Su Xiaoqiao retorted, but felt unsure as Dollar didn't show up. He thought, could Dollar be delayed by something? Then my mutant nocturnal wolf would be gone. "Great, I'll see how long you could keep that thought," Lu Hongtao ridiculed. Suddenly, the guy in cape sitting next to Su Xiaoqiao who had been silent the whole time suddenly stood up and walked toward the stage, leaving Su Xiaoqiao and others dumbfounded. The guy took off the cape while walking, revealing the golden armor underneath, leading to an uproar in the stands. "Dollar! Dollar! Ha! The angel came. I know there's no way he would miss this." Su Xiaoqiao was so happy that he jumped up. "My God, Dollar, you are truly amazing. Kick Luo's ass for my sake please. And remember, keep it under a minute." 1 minute. Su Xiaoqiao was now certain that Dollar had just heard the dialogue about the bet, that was to say Dollar knew he should defeat Luo within a minute, which was undoubtedly good news for Su. Other Bullseye members were also very excited. "Dollar was just sitting here and we failed to recognize him. Indeed, we should have asked for his autograph. I hear you could sell that for a good price now." "Xiaoqiao, you didn't say what you said because you knew it was him, did you?" Su Xiaoqiao laughed. "God helps those who help themselves. How could I know it was Dollar? He wrapped himself like a rice dumpling on such a hot day, and I was just wondering about that myself." Lu Hongtao's face was grim. He sneered and said, "Don't be happy now. Even if he wants to help you, it is impossible to defeat Luo in a minute. Nothing is impossible with dollar. As long as he wants to do it, it will be done." Su Xiaoqiao immediately retorted, with all his faith in dollar. Although Yang Monli was surprised that dollar was sitting beside them, she was not as optimistic as Su Xiaoqiao. Rationally speaking, what Lu Hongtao said made sense. Luo Tianyang might not be dollar's match, but he had Son of Heaven behind him, so he must have plenty of beast souls on him. Despite that Luo's fitness wasn't the best in Son of Heaven's gang, his fitness index should still be over 10. With strong beast souls, it would be difficult to beat him. If dollar is an archer with advanced beast soul bow and arrows, he might be able to get rid of Luo fast. Unfortunately, it seems that he never uses arrows. Yang Monli sighed inwardly. Son of Heaven shot a harsh stare at Han Sen and eyed Luo Tianyang on the stage. Luo nodded knowingly. Son of Heaven had prepared well for this match. Knowing Luo wouldn't be dollar's match, he didn't count on Luo to defeat dollar. Still, he lent Luo his sacred blood ape beast soul and many powerful mutant beast souls. All he wanted to see was dollar injured. Even if dollar could not be injured, he must show his real skills in this match. Son of Heaven saw dollar as a fierce rival, which was why he was using Luo as a pawn to weaken dollar before he ran into dollar himself and to find out how strong dollar was. Luo Tianyang was both cunning and ruthless. He didn't take dollar lightly and summoned the ape beast soul and a mutant suit of armor as soon as the steel lit up and the match started. Suddenly, stood on the stage was a giant age more than 9 feet tall in a suit of bone armor with a long mace in its hands. The look alone was terrifying. A wisp of a smile crossed Son of Heaven's face. That was why he liked Luo. Luo's ability was less than impressive in his gang, but Luo had always been careful and decisive. Son of Heaven had always believed that one must know one's limits, which Luo did. Being meek towards the brutal and brutal towards the meek might be viewed as a bad thing. But the way Son of Heaven saw it, it was also a wise attitude. Luo Qianyang's decision now was much to Son of Heaven's satisfaction, playing it safe and trying to survive. Of course, Luo Qianyang's life was not very important to him. But if Luo died, the ape beast soul would be ruined as well. So, Luo must not die. That's it. Just do whatever you can and try to force dollar to show all he got. If anything went wrong, just go off the stage and throw in the towel. Son of Heaven looked at the two on the stage and thought with a smile, "Dollar, let me see what you've got." Lu Hongtao was amused by what Luo Tianyang did. "I told you Son of Heaven would definitely give the ape beast soul to Luo. You see. With that mutant bone armor, it would take dollar at least an hour to beat Luo." "What are you talking about? Can someone like Luo Tianyang even shapeshift for an hour?" Su Xiaoqiao disagreed. His heart did freeze a little as he didn't think Luo would really have the ape beast soul on him. "Anyway, it would be easy for him to last 10 minutes, which means I could win 10 times, so it's a pity that you don't have 10 mutant beast souls," Lu Hongtao laughed. Chapter 85. Sekil. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Nyo Iwo Studio Editor. Nyo Iwo Studio. But soon, Lu Hongtao's smile disappeared. The moment the martial steel lit up, Dollar summoned the bloody slayer and ran toward the ape called Luo like a hurricane, a golden spear in his hand. In the blink of an eye, Dollar was in Luo's face, his spear stabbing Luo's stomach. Luo Tianyang roared and hacked his mace madly at the mutant sawfish spear, making the spear fly out of Han Sen's hand. Lu Hongtao was ready to applaud, but then he saw that Dollar calmly reached for a golden katana at his waist and slashed it toward Luo Tianyang, who was only inches away. The ape did possess great strength, but it was also clumsy. When fighting from afar, this disadvantage wouldn't show. But at such a short distance, there was no time for the ape to dodge. Crack! The 9-foot-tall ape was cut in half. Luo only gave a whimper before he turned into his own body and died. Blood flowed like a river. Everyone was blankly watching Han Sen, who put the katana back into its sheath and took back the spear calmly. Dollar killed Luo, who had shape-shifted into a sacred blood creature, in less than 10 seconds. After the moment of silence, cheers broke out like a tsunami. Everyone was calling Dollar's name, bringing the whole martial hall to a boil. Su Xiaoqiao was the happiest person among all. Twerking on the stands, he shouted, "Dollar, dollar, I love you, like a mouse loves rice." Lu Hongtao was dumbfounded. He sat there like a deflated balloon, not accepting the fact that Luo had died. Red-hoofed beast. My red-hoofed beast. How could this be? Lu Hongtao almost spilled out blood. Son of Heaven gritted his teeth very hard. He didn't care that Luo was killed. But his ape beast soul was one of the few sacred blood beast souls he had. It, along with all the mutant beast souls, was ruined with the death of Luo. Son of Heaven's heart was bleeding. Dollar, I'll make you regret you were born, Son of Heaven cursed inwardly. He very badly wanted to kill Dollar, but felt somewhat helpless about it. Before, there had been a chance to besiege Dollar with his gang. Now that Dollar had wings, that plan would no longer work. Now Son of Heaven regretted very much that he had used his 1U sacred blood wasp arrow. If he still had it, he would be able to kill Dollar, even if Dollar could fly. He thought more about it and realized that if he had never used that arrow, Dollar wouldn't have the bloody slayer beast soul. Without that shape-shifting beast soul, Dollar couldn't have killed Luo so easily. Thinking of this, Son of Heaven wanted to eat Dollar alive. There was something stuck in his chest which he could neither swallow nor spit out. I must find out who Dollar is. If I couldn't kill him in God's sanctuary, I will kill him in the Alliance. Son of Heaven was determined to have Dollar killed, or he could never let this go. His loss was indeed huge. Luo was dead, and he had lost many beast souls, including a sacred blood one, while Dollar walked free. Han Sen did not dare to get stuck in the crowd and simply flew away with his wings, not giving the audience any chance to approach him. Dollar killing Luo Tianyang was the headline in Steel Armor Shelter. People had posted the story on the Skynet, but without a way to record images in God's sanctuary, words alone didn't attract much attention. In addition, Luo Tianyang was a nobody, so no one cared. After all, this was only the martial arts contest within Steel Armor Shelter. If Dollar became the champion of Steel Armor Shelter and entered the contest among champions from all the shelters, then his match could be seen by the entire First God Sanctuary. If he became the chosen, it would truly be something amazing throughout the entire alliance. But people in Steel Armor Shelter were clearly scared of Dollar. His opponents in the next few rounds all quit before they fought and simply didn't show up. Killing someone in seconds was a brutal thing to do. And that someone had even shape-shifted into a sacred blood beast soul. No one had the courage to put their life on the line. Some people even accused Dollar of being a murderer and posted articles describing how cruel he was. Su Xiaoqiao and other Bullseye members were pissed off by those articles and wrote about the bet between Su and Lu, leading to compliments from Dollar's fans. But it had not changed the fact that Dollar had killed someone. Later, someone posted anonymously that Luo Tianyang had mutilated and raped many victims using Son of Heaven's gang when he was alive. Many people from Steel Armor Shelter echoed the post and said it was a great thing that Dollar had done. Luo Tianyang was an animal. If I were Dollar, I would have killed him long before the martial arts contest. Well done. 30.2 likes. An animal who deserved it. Ignorant, all of you. Murder is murder, regardless of who was killed. Dollar is a murderer. Dollar is a piece of **T. Don't comment on something you don't understand. Everyone in Steel Armor Shelter knows it was justice well served. Exactly. I hate those who follow the herd. There was quite a debate on the Skynet, but then the posts criticizing Dollar became overwhelming, and many posts that supported Dollar got deleted. People in steel armor shelter knew that Son of Heaven was behind it. However, no one had the nerve to antagonize Son of Heaven. After all, there weren't many who dared to be the enemy of Starry Group. No one was willing to do that for a stranger anyway. Chapter 86. Special training. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Nyo.bo Studio Editor. Nyo.bo Studio, Sen, check out my new mount. Su Xiaoqiao was riding his newly gained mutant red-hoofed beast in the yard of the Bullseye team, bragging. The mutant red-hoofed beast looked somewhat like an antelope with a pair of buffalo horns on its head. It had the size of a camel and was satin black all over, except for its 4 blood-red hooves. Han Sen was very depressed to see this gorgeous mount. He wasted so much effort in helping this brat win a mutant mount, while he himself ended up with nothing. Although he did have a mutant mount beast soul, it was aquatic and was useless on the land. After the martial arts contest, I have to find a way to gain a beast soul mount. It was too much trouble going everywhere on foot, and it was bad for my image as well, Han Sen thought to himself. Dark Swamp was out of the question. Even if he gained a mount beast soul there, it would be something ugly like a toad. Han Sen, come to my office. Yang Monli called from on the second floor. Sen, you offended her again. Su Xiaoqiao ran over and asked, grinning. Why would I do that? Han Sen said, touching his nose. That was not a kind look she had. You have to be careful, Su Xiaoqiao laughed. You know about looks. Why don't you say you are psychic as well? Han Sen laughed and went to the second floor. Monli, you asked for me. Han Sen asked. I do not know what Qin Xian saw in you. But since she asked me to help you prepare for the entrance exam, I'll do my best. Starting from today, you will report to me at the teleport station every day and I will train you, hard. You better be prepared as you will suffer. Blackhawk isn't just any school. Yang Monli paused and said casually, if you cannot bear it, you better ask Qin Xian to allow you to quit. I will not stop you. When do I start? Han Sen asked. Now, said Yang Monli before she got up and teleported to planet Roka with Han Sr. Yang Monli took Han Sen to the test hall at the teleport station, which was a military-standard test hall that provided more accurate tests. You will do a detailed test first and let me see what's the difference between your fitness level and the lowest standard for Blackhawk, Yang Monli said with no expression. No need for that. I think I could definitely pass that bar. Han Sen did not dare to do the test, afraid he might scare Yang with his data. The last time he took the test, he had approached 10 in all his numbers. Having gained lots of mutant and sacred geno points after that, his fitness index should be well beyond 10 now. Do the test. Yang Monli commanded coldly. If you insist. Han Sen muttered and slowly walked toward the entrance of the test hall. Han Sen had made up his mind not to use his full strength, in case Yang could tell something was wrong. Fortunately, Han Sen was very confident in his control of his own body. The more he practiced Jade Skin, the more he was amazed by this hyper-geno art. He hadn't practiced it for long, but he already felt that he could adjust each bone and each muscle in his body. With Jade Skin, he could even change his heart rate, blood pressure and body temperature to a certain extent. The more he understood Jade Skin, the more scared he felt. Fortunately, Shui Longyan had already been seriously injured when they met, or else it would have been Han Sen who got killed. It was precisely because of this that Han Sen wouldn't let anyone know that he was practicing Jade Skin, for fear that people might know Shui Longyan was killed by him. The test items here were similar to those in the test center, but were more sophisticated in general. Hence Han Sen knew what each item was for. Soon, Han Sen completed all the test items and came out of the test hall covered with sweat. Yang Manli had no idea that Han Sen looked so tired mainly because he was trying to control the test result. To control one's reflexes and heartbeat was extremely difficult in such sophisticated test items. If Han Sen hadn't practiced jade skin, he wouldn't have been able to hide his real physical condition at all. Yang Manli looked through Han Sen's test results and said, less than 10 in all items, but close. 10 is just the standard of ordinary military schools. For Blackhawk, even for specially recruited students, 10 was just a narrow pass. After reading something on a smart machine, she said, during the time we have left, which is little more than a month, I will make all your fitness index past 10. Meanwhile, I will train you in archery. Only with proper archery skills will you be specially recruited. Manli, may I ask, without special enrollment, what kind of score is Blackhawk looking for? Han Sen asked curiously. When you are able to beat me, you could be admitted to Blackhawk on your own. Yang Manli went to the gym, not even glancing at Han Sr. Han Sen followed her to the gym and looked at all sorts of training equipment in the gym curiously. Many of the equipment he had never seen before. Many soldiers were training in the gym. The teleport station was part of the military, so everything here followed military standard. The only difference was that most soldiers here were new to the army and had never been to the battlefield. Those who could be assigned here typically had certain connections, or else they would have been sent to the front. Chapter 87. Cheating. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Nyo I.bo Studio Editor. Nyo I.bo Studio. Yang Manli led Han Sen in front of a sealed device the size of a train compartment. The device was around 150 feet long. She turned it on and entered some data before she took off her jacket, revealing a black professional training suit underneath. The suit was made of a material unknown to Han Sen, which had a form-fitting effect. Han Sen noticed that Yang Manli had a great body. Her legs were especially long and straight, seducing one to touch them. Look carefully. I will only show you once. For today, you need to finish this training every day before you go anywhere else. Yang Manli said and went into the device. The moment Yang Manli entered the device, all soldiers who were exercising came around and drooled over the holographic image displayed. Yang's body is getting more and more perfect. I could play with those legs for 3 years. 3 years. I can play with them for 30 years. Check out her ass. These animals stared at the holographic image almost with their eyeballs popped out. Inside the device, Yang Manli had started. There are many exercise items in the device and she finished them one by one effortlessly. The items didn't look very difficult either. Brother, what is this device? Looks like it is not that difficult. Han Sen asked a soldier curiously. Not difficult. Kiddo, you are too naive. Yang seems effortless because she's got great fitness index. If you were to do it, you would be too tired to finish 3 items. This is called gravity trainer. There are such devices on all interstellar aircrafts and warships and they are used to adjust the internal gravity. With the parameters set by Yang, one would need at least 10 in fitness index to train. Or else walking in the device alone would be a torture, even worse than screwing 7 times in one night. Son, all you could do is pray. These soldiers knew Han Senator. They were all aware that Qin Xian had often called him into the combat room. Yang Manli stepped out of the gravity trainer in a little while, and the soldiers quickly scattered back to do their training as if nothing had happened. Yang Manli had some sweat on her forehead. She put on her jacket and said, now you complete the exercise and then come to find me. She left with no intention of watching Han Sen do the exercise. Yang Manli knew very well that Han Sen's physical fitness index was only close to 10 and it was impossible for him to finish such intense training. She just wanted to humble him so that he would follow her orders better. A soldier ran toward Han Sen when the latter was about to enter the gravity trainer to start training. Putting his hand over Han Sen's shoulder, the soldier smiled and said, Buddy, if you can bring us some R.rated holographic resources when you come here in the future, I'll let you in on a secret and make the gravity trainer a piece of cake for you. Deal. What's the secret? Han-sen agreed, knowing he was asking for pawns. Great. The soldier patted Han-sen's shoulder and whispered to his ear, once the parameters were set up, Yang could tell if you have modified them after. However, the device has a protective mechanism, which is designed mainly to prevent dangers to your body. My method allows you to change the parameters through this mechanism so that the result doesn't show the modification. So, you can easily complete the test without being found out by Yang. Fantastic. What should I do? Han-sen asked. I can tell you the secret, but a deal is a deal. You need to get me those R.rated holographic resources or you will regret it, said the soldier. Brother, rest assured. I'll get you those, Han-sen patted his own chest and guaranteed. The soldier nodded with satisfaction and told Han-sen the method to change the parameters. He repeatedly told Han-sen to bring him the pawns and designated a few actresses. Parameters set up, please confirm. Han-sen went into the gravity trainer and heard the AI. Okay, Han-sen replied. Confirmation completed. Start testing in 10 seconds. Countdown starts. 10, 9, 8. When the countdown was over, Han-sen felt his body sank, as if he had suddenly gained a few hundred pounds. Han-sen did not use the soldier's method. He wanted to see if he could finish the exercise like Yang Monli did. Han-sen was not used to the added gravity and warmed up a little before he started. When Yang Monli was back from her office, it was already in the afternoon. She thought Han-sen should be worn out like a dead dog by now and would probably be more obedient in the future. When Yang Monli returned to the gym, she was surprised to see Han-sen chatting with the soldiers there. The soldiers were even showing him how to play with all sorts of devices. He looked rather lively and not tired at all. Han-sen, I asked you to train. What are you doing? Annoyed, Yang Monli asked coldly. The soldiers were scared away like mice met a cat, leaving Han-sen standing there alone in front of Yang Monli. Captain, I've completed the training. Han-sen saluted the way the soldiers had just taught him. Completed. Yang Monli frowned and walked quickly toward the gravity trainer. She pulled out the data and as she checked each item, her face became darker and darker. There was no doubt that Yang Monli did not think the data was real. Only those who with more than 12 in fitness index could achieve this. She had just tested Han-sen's fitness and he wasn't even a 10. So, this could not be his real performance. Chapter 88. Perseverance Matters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Nyo.bo Studio Editor. Nyo.bo Studio, who told you about the protection mechanism? Yang Monli stared at Han-sen madly. Of course, she knew about this trick. What protection mechanism? I do not understand what you are talking about. Han-sen looked innocent. You won't tell. Go get a 7.0 practice bow and some arrows, Yang Monli calmed down and said coldly. Han-sen did not know what she wanted to do, and did what she asked. You know the standard stance to draw the string. Yang Monli looked at Han-sen and asked. Yes. Han-sen nodded. Very good, pull the string to the fullest on standard stance, Yang Monli said quietly. Han-sen had worked hard on archery so his stance was perfect and he easily pulled the string to the fullest. Good stance. Han-sen was surprised to hear Yang Monli's compliment. Thank you, Captain. Still, Han-sen knew he was in trouble. Hold this position until midnight. If you move during this period and I do not get the answer I want, you do not need to show up here again. Even if the stationmaster came here herself, one of us must go. Yang Monli turned to leave. Seeing Yang going away, the soldiers ran back and the one who told Han-sen about the protection mechanism felt guilty and said, Sorry buddy, I did not expect Yang to be on to you. I did you harm instead of good. It's just a few hours. I'll be fine. Han Sen said casually. Do not underestimate the standard stance. 20 minutes was all right, but 2 hours is just torture. A 7.0 bow is not a joke. Usually we can't even last 2 hours with a 6.0 bow. It's 4 hours until midnight. Yang is really brutal this time. I say let's go apologize. Just tell her we all told him about the loophole. Or else he would probably not be able to use his arms ever again. If we have to. Judging from her look, we would suffer as well. The soldiers complained and sighed. No need. I'll give it a shot. My endurance has always been good. 4 hours, I think there should be no problem. Han Sen called the soldiers who were going to apologize back. It doesn't matter how good your endurance is. It's torture. Han Sen smiled, I've seen worse. Don't go yet. If I can't do it, you could go then. Maybe by then Yang Monli will see how miserable I am and lessen the punishment. That is also true. Buddy, you hang in there first. Let us know when it gets bad. We will go and confess. The soldiers were loyal. Han Sen nodded and did not speak. Remaining motionless was sometimes even worse than violent movement, especially when he was also drawing a 7.0 bow. In the beginning he didn't feel much, but after half an hour, his arm muscles began to feel numb, and with the passage of time, this numb feeling was more and more intense. In just an hour, Han Sen was sweating like rain, his arms burning and whole body trembling. Han Sen gritted his teeth and started to practice jade skin. A spring-like coolness flowed through all his veins, where the numb feeling was gradually relieved. Through the monitor, Yang Monli would glance at Han Sen from time to time. She saw him keeping the stance but started to tremble when it was approaching an hour. His endurance was already beyond her expectation. Even the soldiers can only last this long. Yang Monli predicted he could last about at most 1.5 hours, certainly less than 2 hours. Cheating in your first training session. I have to put you through hell. Yang Monli did not really want a name from Han Senator. His silence was a quality she could appreciate, and if he had confessed about the person who had told him, she would have looked down on him. After working for a while, Yang Monli checked on him again when it was an hour and a half, and found he was still standing there. Yang Monli could not help but frown, as Han Sen looked better now than half an hour ago. He had stopped trembling and was sweating less. In general, he looked more relaxed. He moved. Yang Monli was not sure and played the footage backward, noticing Han Sen had not moved in the last 30 minutes. Odd. Yang Monli did not go back to work, but paid full attention to Han Sen's image. Han Sen had been standing for 2 hours. Buddy, you're awesome. Can you keep going? Your endurance is out of this world. If you are this good in every aspect, you could definitely go to the Alliance Central Military Academy. Brother, you a real man. A soldier gave him a thumbs up. Let us know if you can't keep going. Don't risk hurting your own body. It's not worth it. Keeping his body motionless, Han Sen smiled and said, I feel okay. I can definitely hold until midnight. No need to check on me. Brother, if you can really hold until midnight, you will be under my protection in the future. Your protection. Do you dare to fight Yang or Qin Xian? Ahem, I was just saying. Do not be so serious. The soldiers took a shower and went to the cafeteria, leaving Han Sen alone in the gym. He was practicing jade skin secretly and felt its power welling from every body cell, eliminating his fatigue. When Han Sen had insisted for 3 hours, even Yang Monli was shocked. She even doubted if the soldiers had hacked the monitor and all she saw was a loop. Soon she ruled out that possibility and left the office for the gym. Chapter 89. I'm the strongest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Nyo.bo Studio Editor. Nyo.bo Studio, now, do you have something to say to me? Yang Monli approached Han Sen, who was standing like a statue. Han Sen hadn't reached a certain level in jade skin, so his fatigue wasn't cleared away completely. Having stood there for over 3 hours, he was drenched in sweat. Even so, his stance was still firm as ever and his hands holding the bow didn't even tremble. Yang Monli for the first time felt that maybe Han Sen was somewhat talented. He had been standing like that for more than 3 hours and his hands were still steady, which was a great quality for an archer. "Captain, I really have nothing to say," Han Sen said. "Well, since you are so tough, you could keep standing here." Yang Monli went away without looking back. She was a little angry, but also respected Han Sen for what he did. That was a difficult task for a 16-year-old. She herself could only last 2 hours with a 6.0 bow at his age. After Yang Monli had closely observed Han Sen's situation and made sure he was fine, she was surprised to see that he did have the energy to continue. Although this was a test of endurance, and didn't have much to do with his other qualities. It still showed that Han Sen was outstanding in something, as someone with a fitness index less than 10 wasn't likely to last this long. How can he have such strong endurance? Yang Monli thought she probably couldn't even accomplish this herself, while Han Sen, someone with much worse fitness than she, could pull through. After Yang Monli went back to the office, she continued to monitor Han Senator. On one hand, she wanted to find out how long Han Sen could last in the end. On the other hand, she was afraid his arms would be damaged. She did not want Han Sen on her team, but she did not mean to harm him either. That was why she couldn't let anything happen to him. Not to mention she had started to appreciate his endurance and perseverance. As for Han Sen's answer, in fact, Yang Monli did not really want to hear it. If Han Sen had really confessed, Yang Monli would have thought he was a snitch. Before long, the soldiers took some water and food and sneaked back into the gym. "Brother, great job. Come and drink some nutrition solution to get some strength." A soldier opened a bottle of nutrient solution and lifted it to Han Sen's lips. "Eat something. Although this meat is as good as the meat from God's sanctuary, it was cooked by a chef here and the taste is good." Another soldier held a large piece of barbecue on a fork and put it up to Han Sen's mouth. "It's fine. I only have 1 hour left and must satisfy Yang's demand." "I am afraid she would say it doesn't count if you help me," Han Sen said. "Brother, you are really a tough guy. I don't admire anyone but you." "Right, what is your name?" "Han Senior, you are just over 16, right?" "Haven't had my 17th birthday. Are all kids so tough these days?" "I do not know about others, but I'm definitely the toughest." "Do not talk to him anymore. It consumes his energy." The soldiers saw Han Sen was fine and set up a table next to him to play cards. Han Sen was upset and thought, "You animals. Are you trying to help or piss me off?" Han Sen had been standing there for more than 4 hours. The soldiers watched the clock turning to 1 second past midnight, put the cards down, took the bow over and raised Han Sen up, ready to throw him into the hydro massage machine. "Don't. I do not need the massage. It's too late now. I have to go home." Han Sen quickly waved his hands. He had seen this kind of machine before, and it would take at least an hour before he could get out. He did not want to waste his time here. "That is not okay. You have been stretching your muscles for too long, which could severely harm your body. You must fully relax through the massage so that your veins and muscles could be revitalized. You have to stay in it for at least 3 hours with the strongest mode on," said a soldier seriously. "I'm all right." Han Sen couldn't really wait 3 hours. As the soldiers insisted, he used a technique from Ghost Hunt and grabbed a soldier's neck. With a twist, he wiggled free like a snake. "Brothers, I'm really okay. I have to go home now. If you don't believe me, I will show you that I still have the energy to perform military boxing, Han Sen said, and performed the complete set of military boxing. Military boxing was something taught at the integrated compulsory education, and was something as simple as gymnastics. But all the soldiers were dumbfounded by it. They watched Han Sen as if they had seen a ghost. #T, kid, you must be a monster under the human skin, the soldiers suddenly shouted when Han Sen finished the military boxing. A Shura under the human skin. A perpetual motion machine under the human skin. When Han Sen left the teleport station, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. His mother and sister weren't home, so he cooked himself something to fill his stomach and went to bed. Although Han Sen's body was fine, he did feel rather tired and almost fell asleep immediately. He didn't get up until it was noon. Han Sen stretched and felt very good all over. It was as if all his cells and pores were revitalized. He discovered that he had made great progress in jade skin. Although it was still just a little, it was about the effect of 10 days practice. So jade skin is practiced more efficiently under extreme conditions. Han Sen was surprised. It was worth a shot anyway. If it was true, it would be great for his practice of jade skin. Han Sen was not in a hurry. He had lots of time to train in the gravity trainer in the future. If he didn't do it, Yang Monli would make him anyway. Han Sen had carefully thought about his current situation. It would still be a while until he could become an aristocrat, and it was not a bad thing to join Qin Xian's squad to gain protection for his family. As Qin Xian had said, if Son of Heaven wanted to harm his family, there wasn't really much he could do even if he was home. The military's protection was more reliable. Son of Heaven was careful with Qin Xian in God's sanctuary, so Han Sen believed that Qin Xian's background would deter Son of Heaven. As long as Son of Heaven didn't know he was dollar, Han Sen didn't think the guy would risk offending the military force for some small conflict. Chapter 90. Hand of God. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Nyo.bo Studio Editor. Nyo.bo Studio. On the next day, Han Sen brought porns to the soldier who had asked him for them. The soldier was so happy that he wanted to become sworn brothers with Han Sen and said Han Sen would be responsible for his happiness from now on. Han Sen was covered in sweat. Fortunately, Yang Monli came fast enough so that Han Sen got rid of the soldier successfully. Yang Monli spent half an hour to explain some archery knowledge and gave Han Sen a few tasks to finish on his own. Han Sen had learned basic archery knowledge at school, and what Yang taught him was more practical, which benefited him a lot. Yang was indeed an expert. There were a lot of tasks for him to complete, which included the gravity trainer. Han Sen wanted to use the gravity trainer himself. This time he used the protection mechanism to adjust the parameters, not to reduce the gravity, but to increase the gravity a notch so that it suited his real fitness level better. The gym did not seem to be the place where ordinary soldiers trained. Han Sen had never seen other soldiers here than the ones he talked to. During lunch break, Han Sen was chatting with the soldiers he knew. The soldier who asked Han Sen for porns regarded Han Sen and asked, "Sen, in addition to bow and arrows, what other weapons do you use?" "Dagger." Han Sen showed him the Z.Steel dagger. Han Sen only knew the nicknames of these soldiers. This guy's name was Gambler. Han Sen learned from others that he was greedy and lewd. Gambler took over Han Sen's dagger and played with it. The dagger seemed like a living thing in his hand, making dazzling moves like a snake. "Watch this." Gambler held the dagger an inch away from Han Sen's eyes. With a simple wave of his hand, the dagger disappeared in front of Han Sen and Gambler's hand was empty. *T. Your nickname should be Magician. Han Sen looked everywhere and didn't see the dagger. Gambler laughed and shook his hands in front of Han Senator. He curled his fingers and the dagger returned to his hands magically. "How did you do that?" Han Sen widened his eyes. "Pretty cool, huh?" Gambler asked proudly. "Yep. Han Sen quickly nodded. Dazzling, no. Gambler played with the dagger. For sure. Han Sen nodded again. Want to learn? Gambler looked at Han Sen with a faint smile. I do. Do you want to teach me? Han Sen asked. If you can bring me all my girls' new movies, I will teach you. Gambler said with a smile. No problem. Han Sen agreed, knowing the girls Gambler referred to were certain porn stars. Although it cost some money to buy new movies, Han Sen really wanted to learn these tricks. Come, we will find a place so that I can show you. Gambler took Han Sen aside and told him the key to it. Han Sen then found out that it was not really magic but finger tricks. Although it was taking advantage of the blind spots, the most important part was one's control of the muscles on the arm. Yes, it was the entire arm instead of just the hand. Gambler told him that this trick was called Heaven in Sleeves, also known as sleeve blade. It was passed down in his family as the foundation of their family business. The dirk Gambler used was specially made. Thin and sharp, it had a crescent dot-like double-edged blade but no hilt. Eddie Gambler was playing with one dirk in each hand, and it looked like there were two butterflies dancing around his hands, which was amazing to watch. How long will it take for me to become a master like you? Han Sen looked at Gambler enviously. Gambler smiled, I started at the age of 3, and became better at 7. I'm now intermediate and still far from being a master. He gave the dagger back to Han Sen and said, do not underestimate this trick. Although it is just lays the foundation, but it is fundamental and will benefit you for the rest of your life. Gambler, what does your family do? Han Sen could not help but ask. Aha, you will never be in our business and I do not intend to let you. I'm just showing you a trick. You could practice it if you think it is fun. Never mind other issues. Gambler walked away and turned back to ask Han Sen, have you ever played games on the Skynet? Rarely. Han Sen had spent all his time trying to survive, and had no time for games. Go play Hand of God. It will help you learn this trick. If you can level up in that game, you will be getting somewhere with this trick. Gambler pointed to the holographic training machine. Han Sen was very interested in Sleeve Blade, so he went to check out Hand of God on the holographic training machine. Soon he understood why Gambler asked him to play this game. This was a holographic game. Its idea was like Whack-a-Mole, but instead of using fingers alone, the spots to touch could appear everywhere around one's arms. One must use all muscles rationally to hit all the spots to pass a level. It was highly demanding for one's dexterity and accuracy. In addition to the beginner level, the game was divided into 3 levels. Evolver, Surpass and Demigod. The intention of the classification was obviously to correspond with the 3 phases of God's sanctuary, and to guide players to choose the right level. Han Sen first chose the beginner level. Actually, when Gambler said, level up, he meant to clear the beginner level. As for which level Gambler himself was in, Han Sen had no way of knowing. Soon, Han Sen was hooked. He was not that smooth in the beginning, but was soon addicted to the satisfaction gained from hitting rapidly as he got familiar with the game. Faster, faster, faster. Once started, the game would push one to pursue the exhilaration in speeding up. But Han Sen did not have much time to play this game. After a few rounds in the martial arts contest, Han Sen reached the final match as expected. Not sure it was good luck or bad luck, Han Sen didn't encounter either Fist Guy or Son of Heaven. Son of Heaven had eliminated Fist Guy, and Qin Xian had eliminated Son of Heaven. The final match was between Qin Xian and Han Sr. In fact, Han Sen wanted to fight Son of Heaven more, so that he would have the opportunity to kill Son of Heaven on the stage. Usually the young master was surrounded by many strong men and there was almost no chance for Han Sen to approach him.